Good morning, America. Today is Tuesday, November the 20th. It is 11:59 a.m. We're coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday, and I always like to do a short taping on the reason for the holiday. So that's what we're going to do today. But before that, we're going to get a little sound sayings from our cards here. It's coming from Psalms 121, verse 7. And it says, "The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul." That means that he will protect thee from all wickedness and evil coming nigh thy. Okay? Any evil or wickedness coming near thy or nigh thy, he will protect you from that. Let me read it again. "The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil." He didn't say some evil. He said all evil. "And he shall preserve thy soul." That means that he will protect you from all evil that comes thy way. Okay, and that is a promise that you can rely on. It is a promise that comes from God himself, so therefore there's no need to doubt it. Okay, and this is why we need to be thankful to God all the times. The back of it is coming from Isaiah 43:19. And it says, "I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Now, the wilderness for you don't necessarily have to be the desert. Your wilderness could be where you are today. Your wilderness could be you're in a shelter. That's your wilderness. Your wilderness could be you are homeless. That's your wilderness. But in spite of, he will make a way for thee. In spite of where you are, he will make a way for them. In spite of where you are, you will not go hungry. Okay? In spite of where you are, he will have people along the way that will be a help to thee. So no matter where you are, even in your wilderness, he will be there with thee. Let me read this again. "I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." So if you are stranded in the desert and you are thirsty and haven't had water, the Lord will make a way for you to find a clean, small puddle of water for you to replenish yourself with. No matter where you are, he will make a way for thee. Okay? So these are promises made to us by God, and we can rely on these promises. We cannot rely on the promises made by man, but those that come out of the mouth of God, we can surely depend on them. Okay, now let's talk about the coming festive season. It is called Thanksgiving. Okay, so in the season of Thanksgiving, we are to show thankfulness not to each other but to God for all that he has done for us. Okay, and what is thankfulness? Thankfulness is a gratitude of blessings. You are grateful for your blessings. That is thankfulness. Gratitude for blessings. All right, described as spiritual sacrifice. Coming from, normally I don't like to chop up my verses, but in some cases it is permissible. Okay, and then this is one of the cases where it is permissible. Psalms 116:17. "I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving and will call upon the name of the Lord." That is a person saying, I will offer to God the sacrifice of gratefulness, and I will call upon him whenever I need him. That's what that says. "I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving and will call upon the name of the Lord." That's what you just said. And I will read it from here for those of you who have a difficult time understanding the Psalms. I will take it right to Psalms 116. It is worth the effort to look this up for thee. 116:17. It says, I will sacrifice a thanks offering to you and call on the name of the Lord. 18, which I haven't read from here, says, I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence. What are vows? These are things that you promise God. Okay, we always asking God for this, asking God for that, asking God to bless us this way, asking God to bless us that way, but we never go back to God and say, God, if you would do this for me, this is what I would do for you. This is what we fail to do. We don't mind asking, but we don't return the favor to God. We don't say, Lord, if you will help me in this way here, I will do this for you. Okay, and if we do say it, we don't keep our end of the bargain. God will do what you ask him to do, and as soon as it's done, you forget about the promise you made God. Okay, that's not gratitude. Okay, anything that comes out of your mouth that you promise God, you ought to fulfill. It is a binding contract. Why? Because you uttered it. You spoke it out of your mouth. Therefore, it is binding. You are to fulfill it. Because why? Because God will surely require it of you. That's what Thanksgiving is all about. It's not gimme, 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 gimme all the time. Okay? We ought to sometimes go to God and give him for the graciousness that he bestows upon us. Okay? So it says here in, we'll read 16 and 17 again. But I'm going to start from 16. Psalms 116. 16. Precious, Lord, O Lord, truly I am your servant. I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have freed me from my chains. Okay, chains could be anything to you. It could be poverty. It could be unemployment. It could be no place to live. Those are your chains. Okay, so if he releases you from your chains, you owe him gratitude for that. It is not because of your own doings that you are released from your bonds. It is because of the request you made to God. He fulfilled your request, and now you owe him something. You owe him a sense of gratitude. Okay? But oftentimes we forget that we owe God something. We get what we want from him, and then we forget him. Or we forget the promises that we have made to him. All right? Let me read it again. O Lord, truly I am your servant. I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have freed me from my chains. 17. I will sacrifice a thanks offering to you and call on the name of the Lord. 18. I will fulfill my voice to the Lord in the presence of all his people. When are you in the presence of all his people? When you're in his house. You and I may only have 1 or 2 houses in a lifetime, but the Lord has more houses than the richest man on earth. So whenever you walk into his house, among his servants, you ought to pay your vows, whatever it is that you promise God, for whatever it is that he has fulfilled for thee. That is called being thankful. That is called showing gratitude. All right? Moving right along, it said, and a vow. What is a vow? A vow is a plea, a promise that you make to God in return for his favor or his blessings. You make him vows. You utter it out of your mouth. All right? That's what a vow is. A voluntary plea to fulfill an agreement. What was the agreement? Lord, bless me here. Lord, bless me there. That was the agreement. If you bless me here or you bless me there, I will do this for thee. Okay, so oftentimes God does his end of the bargain, but we fail to do our portion. Okay, you need to stop doing that, because why? That's not showing gratitude. This is the season of Thanksgiving. Okay, we are not to be being grateful to man, because man doesn't do anything for us. God does it all. You have a new job, you better be grateful to God for the job. Your qualifications did not get you your job. It is the Lord's favor upon you that got that job. You got a new home, whether you rent it or you own it. It is not because you look good that you got the job. It is God's blessing upon you. It's the reason why you have that home. Whether it's a rental home or it's a purchase home, it is a blessing to thee from God. So you ought to always remember that. All right? So voids are voluntary pleas to fulfill an agreement. The void is your end or our end of the agreement. All right? Features concerning voids must be voluntary. Your voice must be voluntary. Okay? These are things you do on your own. That is called voluntary. All right? Deuteronomy 23, 21, and 22. I will read to you. It says, Deuteronomy 23:21. When thou shalt void a void unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it. Okay, for the Lord thy God will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee if you fail to fulfill your end of that agreement. Okay, you fulfill to show your gratitude for your blessing. Are you hearing me today? Why are we talking about this? Because it's the season of Thanksgiving. All right? I will read it again. When thou shalt void a void unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it. You should not take your time to do your end of the agreement, in the same way that God did not take his time to fulfill your request. Did you hear me well? Good. For the Lord thy God will surely what? Require it of thee. Why? Because you uttered it out of your mouth. It is a binding contract. Okay? And it will be sin in thee if you fail to do so. All right? Deuteronomy 23:23. That which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform it, even a free will offering, according as thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. You promised you would do this for him. If he would grant these requests for you. You promise God this, that, and the other. And you are bound to that promise. You are to fulfill that promise. Period. All right? As thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. Okay? And a vow must be uttered. What does uttered means? It means something you speak out of your mouth. A vow has to be uttered. Okay? And you can utter it out of your mouth or you can utter it in your heart. Either way, the Lord heard it. Because he knows what you're going to say before you say it. So you can utter it out of your mouth or you can utter it in your heart. Either way, he can see it. He can hear it. This is why when you say things under your mouth and it doesn't come out of your mouth, the Lord has still heard it because it was in your heart. No man, no scientist can tell you what you're going to say before you say it, but God can. Okay? So a void must be what? It must be fulfilled and it must be uttered out of your mouth. Deuteronomy 23:23. And we just read that. That which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a free will offering according as thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. Okay, so it is uttereth. Okay, once made, it is binding. It's like a contract. Okay, what is this topic about? Gratitude and thankfulness to God, not gratitude and thankfulness to man. All you owe man is an I appreciate it. Your thankfulness should be given to God alone. You can't be thankful to God and to man at the same time. Your thankfulness goes to God, your gratitude goes to God, and your appreciation goes to man. That's how it goes. All right? Okay, so once you make it, once you speak it out of your mouth, you must now perform it. This is why it says, once made, it is binding. Any promise that you give God out of your mouth, it is a binding contract. And you must fulfill it. If you fail to do so, you have sinned against him. And in the same way that he giveth thee, he can take it away. Let me repeat that. In the same way that he giveth thee, he can take it away. Whatever it is that he has given thee, he can remove it instantly with a blink of an eye. That paycheck can stop with a blink of an eye. Okay? Ecclesiastes 5:4. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. All right? Pay that which thou hast vowed. Whatever you say out of your mouth that you will do for God, make sure you do it. Because why? You will come again to him with another request. And he will remember whether or not you fulfilled your last vow. All right? When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Fools say a lot that they don't mean. Okay, pay that which thou hast vowed. Ecclesiastes 5:5. Better it is that thou shouldest not void than that thou shouldest void and not pay. It is better not to give God these promises than to give the promises and not fulfill them. That's what that says. It is better not to promise the God of Israel anything than to promise him something and not fulfill it. That's what that says. Better it is that thou shouldest not void than that thou shouldest void and not pay. All right? Benefits of sometimes include, sometimes when you make a vow to God and you fulfill that promise, many other benefits come along with it. You fulfilling your end of the bargain. You fulfilling that which you have said to God pleases him. And then you can come to him many times and make many more requests. Why? Because you are a trustworthy servant of his. And what you speak, you do. That is called gratitude. That is called thankfulness. All right? We're going to read Genesis 28:20 to 22. We're going to read the benefits of it. Okay? And we all know this particular character. He's in the beginning of the Bible. Okay? He had done a bad thing. But despite that which he had done to his brother, God loved him more. Should we try to understand that? No. Who are we to question God? Who? Who are we that we should question his actions? Who are we that we should tell him about what he has done? We're nothing. We are nothing alone, and we are definitely nothing without him. All right? Genesis 28:20. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me, and will keep me in this way, that I go and will give me bread to eat, if he will feed me, and remnants to put on, if he will put clothes on me. He's just making 2 requests. If God will be with 3 requests, if the Lord will be with me all the time, if he will feed me and give me bread, if he will put clothes on my back, that's what remnants are. If he will do these 3 things for me, Genesis 28:21 says, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. If he will provide these things, these 3 things for me, his presence in my life, bread for me to eat, and clothes on my back, then he is my God. If I'm able to go back to my father's house in peace, then this God is my God. And this is what Jacob was saying. And this is what we say all the time. If the Lord will help me get this job, if the Lord will heal me from my sickness, if the Lord will save my brother or sister, my son or my daughter, I will do this for him. God does all your requests. But when it comes to your end of the bargain or our end of the bargain, many times he sees it not. That is not the way you show gratitude or thankfulness to our Heavenly Father, who is greater to us than our earthly fathers and mothers. Remember that. Our Heavenly Father is greater for us than our earthly fathers and mothers. Okay? Genesis 28. So that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. Genesis 28:22. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. So he is saying, if the Lord will be with me, if the Lord will provide me bread, if the Lord will provide me remnants, if the Lord will bless me, then surely 1/10 of all that he gives me, I will give to God. Those are words that came out of his mouth that he fulfilled. And we ought to be doing the same thing. The same thing, America. But because we have such a lack of gratitude towards God, his commandments, his sanctions, his ordinances, is the reason why our world is falling apart. The politicians have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on this earth. Nothing. At all. Okay? Perfection is required. Yes. Yes. You ought to always give God your very best. In the same way that he gives you his very best, you ought to give God your very best. When God gives you something and everybody sees it, everyone knows that it is divine. Everyone. Whether it's a job or it's a home, when it is a gift from God, anyone who sees it will say, God is with thee. Because God don't give away trash. What he gives you, people marvel over it. You yourself will marvel over his gifts to thee. So this is the reason why you and me shall marvel in our gratitude towards God. Why? Because it's the season of Thanksgiving. And we have to feel this way 365 days a year. Not just once a year. 365 days a year, you should have this sense of gratitude towards God. All right? Because he will do as he said he will do for thee. All right. Now, your gifts should be good gifts. In the same way that when he gives you gifts, he gives you good gifts. He don't give you a dump to live in. He don't give you a penny ante job. He don't give you sick children. He gives you healthy children, a good spouse, a good job to take care of them families with, a good home. All of these things are gifts to you. What do you give God in return? Sometimes nothing. That's not a way of showing gratitude. All right? So your gifts to him, in the same way that God's gifts to you are good and precious, your gifts to God should also be good and precious. Perfection. is required of thee. Perfection. This is why we're going to Leviticus 22 today. So let's go there, because why? It is the season of Thanksgiving. All right. So we're not going to read the entire chapter. We will start from verse 18 to verse 25. What is Leviticus 22 talking about? Leviticus 22 talks about priests shall not eat of the holy things while unclean. It also talks about only sacrifice within blemishes or without blemishes are acceptable. Even back in the biblical days, when they used to sacrifice animals to the altar, these animals could not have any kind of blemishes. They could not be animals that were deformed. They had to be perfect. Okay, this is why it says your sacrifice should be come with perfection. There should be nothing wrong with it. Okay? Yeah, instead of giving him $10, you ought to give him $100. Instead of giving him $15, if you can pull out $150, that is a greater gift to God. All right? So let's read 18. For those of you who are just joining us, we are in Leviticus 22. The topic today is gratitude. All right? And we're starting from verse 18, which is our love for commandments. All right? And it says, and this is all uppercase lettering signifying the importance of it. It says, 22. Leviticus 22:18. Speak unto Aaron and to his sons and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, whatsoever he be of the house of Israel, or of the stranger in Israel, that will offer his obligations for all his vows, and for all his free will offerings, which they will offer unto the Lord for a burnt offering. 19. Ye shall offer at your own will a male without blemish, okay, of the beeves, of the sheep, or of the goats. 20. But whatsoever has a blemish, that shall ye not offer, for it shall not be acceptable for you. Okay? Just like when the Lord blesses you, he doesn't bless you with a piece of trash. He blesses you with that which is mind-blowing. And that blessing, those vows that you give to God, should also be mind-blowing. It should be a sacrifice unto thee. $15 is no sacrifice unto thee. All right? 22. And whosoever offereth a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord to accomplish his void, or a freewill offering in beeves or sheep, it should be perfect, to be accepted, that there should be no blemish therein. That animal could have nothing wrong with it. Nothing. Okay? And your gift and offering should be nothing wrong with it. Nothing. 22. Blind or broken or maimed or having a wind or scurry or scabs, ye should not offer these unto the Lord, nor make an offering by fire of them unto the altar unto the Lord. We could not take an animal that had many things wrong with it and offer it unto God. Because why? It does not fit the perfection that it should. That means nothing was wrong with it when you offer it to God. Whether it's a peace offering or a free will offering, you had to offer an animal that had absolutely no blemishes unto God in order for it to be acceptable unto him. Okay? The Lord says that out of all that he gives you, he only requires 10%. 10%. Anything less than 10% is unacceptable. Did you hear me? For all that he gives thee, he only requires 10%. You can have 90%. All he wants is 10%. Anything less than that 10% is unacceptable. Some people don't even give 1% back to God, let alone 10%. Okay, 23. either a bullock or a lamb that has anything superficial or lacking in his part, that mayest thou offer for a free will offer, but for a vow it should not be accepted. 25. Ye should not offer unto the Lord that which is bruised or crushed or broken or cut, neither shall ye make any offerings thereof in your land. Okay, 25. Neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your God of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them, and they shall not be accepted for you. Okay, this is the book of Leviticus here. It talks about our offerings in animal. But today we have monetary offerings that the Lord accepts. So if you got $150 in your pocket, which will be 10% of what the Lord has given you, and you pull $15 out of that 10%, you have cheated the Lord. Period. Yet he has given you his best and continues to let you have it. All right, let's move on to wickedness of some, Jeremiah. I want to read Leviticus out of the International Book so that you understand what I just said to you. Unacceptable sacrifices, it says it in the New International Version. The Lord said to Moses, 18, speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites and say to them, if any of you, either an Israelite or an alien living in Israel, presents a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or as a free will offering, 19, you must present a male without defect from the cattle, sheep, or goats in order that it may be accepted on your behalf. 20. Do not bring anything with a defect, because it will not be accepted on your behalf. 22. When anyone brings from the herd or flocks a fellowship offering to the Lord to fulfill a special vow or as a free will offering, it must be without defect or blemish to be acceptable. 22. Do not offer to the Lord the blind, the injured, or the maimed, or anything with warts or festering or running sores. Do not place any of these on the altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. 23. You may, however, present as a free offering an ox or a sheep that is deformed or stunned, but it will not be accepted in fulfillment of a void. A void is special. It represents that which the Lord has done for thee. It represents that which you have requested of him. So that is the reason why it must be a perfect void with no blemishes, whether it's a beast or cash. All right. 24. You must not offer to the Lord an animal whose testicles are bruised, crushed, torn, or cut. All right. You must not do this in your own land. 25. And you must not accept such animals from the hand of a foreigner and offer them as the food of your God. They will not be accepted on your behalf because they are deformed and have defects. Okay, so if you give God less than that 10% that you're supposed to, it is not acceptable unto him because he knows you have it. All right, so now let's go to one more, wickedness of some. Some can be quite wicked in the way they give or pay their vows. And we're going to read that Jeremiah 44, 25 to 30. Jeremiah 44. Let me tell you what Jeremiah 44 talks about. Jeremiah 44 talks about Jeremiah foretells the punishment of the Jews in Egypt for their idolatries. This is what's going on in the book of Jeremiah chapter 44. We're not going to read the entire chapter. We're only going to read verse 25 to verse 30, and as you already know, it is brown for Satan. All right. 25 is brown. It's all uppercase lettering, And 26 to 30 is gold for prophecy. Pay attention. 25. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, Ye and your wives have both spoken with your mouths and fulfilled with your hands, saying, We will surely perform our vows that we have vowed, to burn incense to the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. Ye will surely accomplish your vows, and surely perform your vows. Okay, 26. Therefore hear ye the word of the Lord, all Judah that dwell in the land of Egypt. Behold, this is uppercase lettering now. Behold, I have sworn by my great name, saith the Lord, that my name shall no more be named in the mouth of any man of Judah in all the land of Egypt, saying, The Lord God liveth. 27. Behold, I will watch over them for evil and not for good. And all the men of Judah that are in the land of Egypt shall be consumed by the sword and by the famine, until there be an end of them. This is your reward for giving God wickedness in return for his goodness. This is your reward. Okay? So if you look around the world and you see all kind of mayhem going on, this is our reward for our conduct of today. All right? 28. Yet a small number that escaped the sword shall return out of the land of Egypt into the land of Judah, and all the remnants of Judah that are gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there shall know whose words shall stand, mine or theirs. Whose words shall stand? Yours or God's? God's always. Period. All right, 29. And this shall be a sign unto you, saith the Lord, that I will punish you in this place, that ye may know that my words shall surely stand against yours for evil. So that which we do in this land to pollute it, we will pay the price for it. Anything that we do to pollute this land, the Lord will punish us for it. And this is what we're receiving now. It don't make no difference whether you believe it or not. Anytime we take and we pollute the land that the Lord has given unto us for a little while, because we're only here for a little while, and we are polluting it daily, he will punish us for it. And this is what you see going on. Okay? Some places get more punished than others. Okay? And this shall be a sign unto you, said the Lord, that I will punish you in this place, that ye may know that my word shall surely stand against you for evil. 30. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give Pharaoh Hophram, king of Egypt, unto the hand of his enemies, and unto the hand of them that seek his life. As I gave Zedekiah, the king of Judah, unto the hand of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, his enemy, that sought his life. In the same way that he handed people over to their enemies in the biblical time, the same way he handles things today. So it don't pay to be wicked towards God. It doesn't pay. Okay? Let's read that from the New International Version. And that is over here. Is that right, Father? Jeremiah. Where's Jeremiah? Jeremiah 44, 25. I will read it from the New International Version. This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. You and your wives have shown by your actions what you have promised, that when you said, we will certainly carry out the voice we made to burn incense and pour out drink offerings to the Queen of heaven. Go ahead then, do what you promised. Keep your vows. 26. But hear the word of the Lord, all Jews living in Egypt. I swear by my great name, said the Lord, that no one from Judah living anywhere in Egypt will ever again invoke my name or swear. As surely as the sovereign God lives, 27, I am watching over them for harm, not for good. The Jews in Egypt will perish by sword and famine until they are all destroyed, 28. Those who escape the sword and return to the land of Judah from Egypt will be very few. Then the whole remnants of Judah who came to live in Egypt will know whose word will stand, mine or theirs. This, 29, this will be the sign to you that I will punish you in this place, declared the Lord, so that you will know that my threats of harm against you will surely stand. Amen. Any word that comes out of any word that comes out of the mouth of God is a sure word indeed. Any word, whether it's a blessing or a curse, his words will always stand. Always. They are greater than the Constitution of America. They are greater than whatever the Supreme Court thinks. Period. 30. This is what the Lord said. I'm going to hand Pharaoh from king of Egypt over to his enemies who seek his life, just as I handed Zedekiah, king of Judah, over to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, the enemy who was seeking his life. In the same way that he handled his servants and saints in the biblical time, he is handling us today in that same fashion. So when you're wondering why so much evil is going on in our world, it's because we have decided to turn our back on the Lord and show him no thankfulness for all that he does for us. Okay, so this is a season of Thanksgiving. It is a season of thanksgiving to God, not to man. So if he has done much for you, you have much to be grateful for and much void to fulfill. Thank you very much for listening to us here at Spiritual Water. My name is Senora Guerrero. And as always, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you. And may the will of God for your life come from thee. Until the next time, please take this day, show God great gratitude, and don't just feed those you love. If you know somebody who doesn't have anyone who you know is alone, take them a platter. Because God is more pleased when you feed those you don't know than when you feed those you love. He is more pleased when you take and feed the poor than if you make a feast and feed your family. He is very pleased when you think about someone who has no one and you offer them a plate. So at every table this year of the people of God, you should always have a chair available for a stranger. Because it is a blessed thing to entertain a stranger. Because you never know when you're entertaining an angel. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. And again, have a blessed holiday.